The laughter started before I even finished packing my suitcase. It wasn't joyful laughter, or the playful teasing families sometimes share to lighten a difficult moment. It was the kind that cuts deep, because it comes from the people you once believed would always stand beside you. Every chuckle echoed through the kitchen and settled heavily in my chest. My older brother leaned against the counter with a smug smile. "So," he asked, folding his arms, "where exactly are you planning to go?" "My apartment," I answered, trying to sound more confident than I felt. He laughed louder. "What apartment?" My sister added, "You can barely pay your rent now. You'll be back here in a week." My mother stood by the sink, rinsing dishes that didn't need washing. She never joined in, but she never stopped them either. Her silence hurt almost as much as their words. My father looked up from the newspaper for only a second before shaking his head. "You've always been stubborn," he muttered. "Maybe life has to teach you what we couldn't." I wanted to explain that losing my job hadn't been my fault. The company had downsized, and hundreds of employees were let go. I had spent months applying everywhere, attending interviews, learning new skills online, and doing everything I could to stay afloat. None of that mattered to them. To my family, I wasn't someone fighting through a rough season. I was the family's latest joke. 2 days later, my landlord knocked on my apartment door with the final notice. I had delayed the inevitable as long as I could. After paying for groceries and utilities, there simply wasn't enough left to cover another month's rent. By sunset, nearly everything I owned fit into 2 suitcases, 3 cardboard boxes, and a worn-out backpack. I called every friend I could think of. Some didn't answer. Others apologized politely. I wish I could help. My place is too small. My roommate wouldn't agree. I understood. Everyone had their own lives. When I finally locked the apartment door behind me, I stood in the hallway for several minutes, staring at the scratched paint and faded carpet. I had imagined leaving that apartment one day with excitement, moving into a better place after earning a promotion. Instead, I was leaving because I had nowhere else to go. Outside, rain had started falling. I loaded everything into my old sedan, a car that rattled every time it started. For a moment, I sat behind the steering wheel without turning the key. I had never felt so alone. That first night, I slept in the driver's seat at a 24-hour parking lot. The seat wouldn't recline all the way, and every passing truck shook the car. Morning arrived with a stiff neck and aching back. I washed my face in a public restroom, changed into clean clothes, and spent the day sending out more job applications from the local library. Hours passed. No interviews. No calls. Just another string of polite rejection emails. Still, I refused to quit. Each morning became part of a routine. Wake up before sunrise. Freshen up wherever I could. Spend the day searching for work. Read books about business and personal finance at the library. Watch free courses online. Apply again. Some evenings I questioned whether I was wasting my time. Then I'd remember my brother's laughter. Instead of breaking me, it became fuel. A week later, an elderly librarian noticed I was there from opening until closing every day. "You must really enjoy reading," she said warmly. I smiled. "I'm trying to rebuild my life." She didn't ask embarrassing questions. Instead, she pointed me toward free career workshops held every Wednesday evening. That single conversation changed everything. The workshops introduced me to people who had overcome layoffs, bankruptcies, illnesses, and failures much bigger than mine. Listening to their stories reminded me that setbacks weren't permanent. One of the volunteer instructors reviewed my resume. "You've got good experience," he said. "You're underselling yourself." Together we rewrote it from top to bottom. Another volunteer helped me practice interviews. Someone else introduced me to online freelance work. The income wasn't much at first, but it was enough to buy meals without worrying. Enough to keep gas in the car. Enough to believe tomorrow might be different. Weeks turned into months. I completed certification, courses during the day, and worked freelance projects at night from my laptop. There were evenings when exhaustion nearly defeated me. I'd close my computer at 2 in the morning, sleep for 4 hours, then start all over again. No one applauded. No one noticed. But every small step mattered. Eventually, one freelance client recommended me to another. That client referred me again. Before long, I had more work than I could handle alone. For the first time since losing my job, I opened my banking app and saw the balance increasing instead of shrinking. It wasn't wealth, it was hope. I rented a tiny room in a shared house. The mattress was thin. The furniture was mismatched. The window overlooked an alley. Yet that little room felt like a palace because it represented something priceless. I had earned it. One evening, I looked through old family messages on my phone. There were jokes about me living in my car, comments saying I'd never amount to anything. Not one person had asked how I was doing. Not one. I almost deleted the conversation. Instead, I archived it.